Okay, so today we're going to be creating the illusion of space on a flat surface by painting a landscape. And you can see the examples here. You're going to be painting either a warm landscape or a cool colored landscape. But before we get the foreground put on, we're going to be painting the background. So here's the background. So you're gonna need to choose either cool colors or warm colors. And on your paper, you're going to need to, first of all, write your name, and then you're going to need to write either warm or cool. So I'm going to go with cool today, and cool has pink, blue, and purple. Now, if I were going to go with warm, I would go with yellow, orange, red, and pink. So go ahead and write your name, write those colors, which color scheme you're going to go with, and then get a piece of newspaper. So I've got my newspaper, and you're going to collect the colors that you have chosen. So we're going to go ahead and start coloring. If you look in the sky on a nice sunny day, you'll notice that the sky is darker at the top, and as the sky goes down, it gets lighter and lighter. And so we want to have our light colors at the bottom, and the material we're using today is called a water-soluble oil pastel, which is kind of an oxymoron because water and oil do not mix. So these are really, if they were named correctly, these are water-based painting sticks. They act like a crayon until you get them wet, and then they dissolve and move around. So I'm overlapping, I'm pushing really hard with the crayon, and I'm not going just back and forth. I'm going in different directions, and I'm going to the edge of the page. So you can see here, it's lighter down here, and as it goes up, it gets darker. And that's kind of what you want, because that will help with the believability of your landscape. So now I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm going to get my hand wet, and I'm just going to rub around, and the crayons dissolve. And you don't have to push very hard, and you don't have to have a ton of water on your hand. You just want to have enough so that it dissolves the material and lets you move it around, and it turns into a paint. Okay, just like that. And then you can come back and you can pretend the wind's blowing, whatever you want to do. Okay, so that's the first step right there. So we're going to put clouds on our landscape now, and I've gotten a little bit of white and just a teeny tiny amount of black, and the clouds in the sky are going to go from big clouds up here to teeny tiny clouds down here, and we're going to do 7.5 clouds. All right, so to do these clouds you use your 3 fingers because fingerprints are perfect cloud shapes. So we're going to start with our pinky, load up with some white, and we're going to make a triangle. Then after we make a triangle, we're going to fill in the triangle like this, fingerprinting like this. Okay, we're not smearing, we're pushing down. Load up some more. Here's going to be my half. Now I've got 1, and I've got a half cloud over here. Cropping helps your picture be a little more believable when you only put part of one thing on something. So here's 2.5, And clouds are all different kinds of shapes. They're not perfect, but definitely what you're not doing is you're not going like this. You're not doing this. That just doesn't look believable. So you're tapping, 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 making nice fluffies. So that's 3.5. Now I'm gonna start getting smaller. 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, and here's my little bitty 7th, way in the background. All right, so now I've got 7.5 clouds, but clouds have a shadow on them. They're not just white. And so the bottom of the cloud is a little bit darker, and so we're gonna add a shadow. So that's what our ring finger is gonna do. Our ring finger is gonna put a little black in. Now, it's really easy to get too much black and just gray out your cloud too much. So you just have a little bit and you just dab it on. Okay, just a little bit. Just putting a little bit of black in there. Teeny tiny, less is better. Less is better. Okay, now we're gonna go to our middle finger, and that's gonna be our blender finger. So our blender finger is just gonna come in, tap, 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 blending that black into a gray, just like that. Tapping it into a gray. So our clouds have a little bit of a three-dimensional quality. They look a little bit darker at the bottom, not too much though. And the sky that you've painted is gonna get into the cloud a little bit and make that cloud be kind of that color, and that's okay because the sky is reflected in the clouds a lot of times. Now let's say that you totally biff the shading thing and you get a whole bunch of black on your finger because you're not listening. Okay, and you're like, I will put my black in my cloud, like that. And you're like, oh gosh, I think I put too much black in. So then what you're gonna do is take your index finger, which is clean, and you're gonna come in here and you're just gonna swipe that off because that's way too much. And no matter how much white you put on there, it's still not gonna get gray. Okay, so then you come back in with your little blender finger. Oh, look at that, all better. It's a nice fluffy cloud again. Okay, so you're putting 7.5 clouds on. You're using your pinky finger as your white applicator, starting with a triangle. Then you're using your ring finger with just a teeny tiny amount of black. And then your middle finger is gonna go back and blend.